Hey you guys, so today's video is going to be kind of an assessment of like what I think is going on in the beauty community. Maybe you guys have noticed some of these things as well, and maybe some ways we can like all work together to make it not be kind of the dumpster fire I feel like it's been the past 18 months or so. Also, make sure you check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and let's just get started. This video is not an intentional bashing or a witch hunt against popular influencers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, they are doing a job. It is also our job to inform ourselves, make smart decisions, be mindful and intentional, and very present in our role in this community and making decisions that reflect our values. So one reason you might be kind of bored, disillusioned, whatever with the beauty industry is that you're not exposing yourself to other styles of makeup. You got Twihards versus Potterhead. There's DC versus Marble, Coke versus Pepsi. We've all kind of seen different types of famous rivalries in our life, but I think one that affects the beauty community in an interesting way that sometimes I feel isn't really talked about is the huge difference between professional makeup artists and beauty influencers. And there is a massive difference. I can make an entire video on this topic alone, and I actually think I'm going to, because I feel like I've been on both sides of it. I've done both of them. And honestly, for a really long time, I couldn't understand what the kerfuffle was actually about, because you're just talking about two completely different skill sets, two completely different career objectives, two completely different styles of work. Kind of felt like comparing maybe an at-home cook to Gordon Ramsay. Like, it's not the same thing. And in a lot of ways, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like pro MUAs were the ones kind of antagonizing this beef or whatever. And sometimes I thought they were being extremely malicious and very self-serving in their attempt to like defame, debunk, and derail influencer culture as a whole. But now, and after a lot of thought over this over the years, I think I'm actually leaning more team pro MUA for many reasons. For me, in the beginning, the benefit of influencer culture or whatever was to learn about makeup, learn how to apply it, learn how to use it, learn tips and tricks and things like that, and not just what makeup I need to buy. Obviously, I am not in charge here, and if you don't agree with what I'm about to say, please understand that beauty is totally subjective and no one can be proven unequivocally right or wrong here. But most Instagram and YouTube makeup just looks totally ridiculous to me at this point. It's way too much. I talked about this in a video recently, and I'm sorry to circle back to it, but I just feel like it needs to be said. I don't feel like artistry in makeup is about how much crap you can pile onto someone's face. I mean, it's not that there is nothing to be gained from Instagram and YouTube makeup, but I just don't think it would kill any of us to like expose ourselves more consistently to other styles of makeup. I know for me personally, when I have at least a variety of things I'm looking at and pulling inspiration from, it just doesn't make me feel so boxed in and compelled to follow trends. You know, there's a very famous quote that says trends are for the anxious, and I definitely agree with that. I just don't think anything bad's gonna happen if you start paying more attention to someone like Charlotte Tilbury or Mary Greenwell's work. Newer contemporary artists that I really like are HungVo and Patrick Ta. You just gotta go find some inspiration that makes makeup fun again for you. Social media purges are great for that. There are some makeup accounts that I feel like kind of bridge the gap between this sort of like hyper over glam extra makeup style and something a little bit more like elevated. Would be an account like Makeup by Samuel, Priscilla Ono, Makeup by Mario, Tamina Makeup. Oh, her work is so cool. I love it. For me, it's all about finding that sweet spot, and lately I feel like it's all just been this one way things are done and the things that are popular, and I'm just over it. I think the number two reason that YouTube is kind of like getting stale and stagnant, or maybe reasons why you're not into it as much as you used to be, or you feel like it's changed or whatever, could be that some of us, I think, sometimes forget that what you're looking at is a job that people are doing. It's a job. There was a time many moons ago when this thing was not like the megacorp that it is now, and while beauty has always been very big business, I heard somewhere once that the only place the margins are higher are in the drug world, but it's definitely never been this. Prior to this, most of us probably had a modest and functional makeup collection. I remember there was a time when all the makeup that I had could fit into one makeup bag, and I feel like most people at one point could count the amount of makeup looks that they could bust out on any given day on like less than one hand. And like, don't get me wrong, it's awesome that we understand how to use makeup better than we ever did before. Because like I said, this wasn't a thing, and if you wanted to learn how to do makeup, you might have to go to school, you might have to know someone who was a working makeup artist, and like there were books, but the education just wasn't there. So once again, benefits and disadvantages. But what I'm saying is it's just switched so much to the other side that we're just like inundated with influencer culture now in a way that I don't know how much it's helping all the time. Prior to this, I think a lot of us would have kind of gasped at the idea of a $65 foundation or a $20 lipstick, and it probably felt extremely impractical. Now, I think it's safe to say that a lot of us are very desensitized to that, myself included. Most of us are subscribed to dozens, if not hundreds, of social media platforms that sole purpose most of the time is to tell us what we need to buy. Even the way that we consume content has changed. The print industry is kind of dying off. That industry going away is taking away ads and paid for product placement. People rarely watch TV nowadays on a schedule that like a network chooses. And if they do, the second that a commercial comes on, you're probably reaching for your phone. And companies are scrambling to figure out how to get product in front of us. And some businesses have not quite found their footing here, but let me tell you, not only has the beauty industry figured it out, but they're kind of like thriving in this new situation. So then like enter the influencer. I'm not here to knock the hustle. I'll say it 101 times. I don't think it's a good thing to pine for and romanticize a day gone by, because the future is now and this is a situation we're in and this is what we have. So you might as well make the best of it. But you, as a regular person, do not need to covet, intend on, or plan to own as much makeup as influencers have. Like honestly, this goes back to the whole thing about pro MUAs versus influencers. Professional makeup artists can do a lot with very little. That's what an artist is. It's kind of like, what can you do with what you have? That's the mentality of a professional artist. But if you find your passion and interest in makeup kind of dying off from the whole brand, influencer, product circle jerk that's constantly happening, then it is on you to find content that supports what you want to see more of. You guys remember last year during Dramageddon when everybody was like, the beauty community is up in flames, when really it was just 4 people? It was kind of insulting to me in a way. It was like, the community is huge and 4 people are stirring up drama and the whole thing's falling apart. Like, no, that's garbage. We need to be finding, sharing, promoting, lifting up the type of content we want and ignoring the stuff we don't. The number 3 reason you might find yourself disillusioned with, bored with, over, or not enjoying the makeup community right now is because you might not be considering what actually goes into looking like a popular influencer. Or maybe you are, and it's changing the way you see yourself, which is almost worse. The reason that I feel like this needs to be addressed more than anything is I think sometimes it's and this is not even like new. This is something that's been done forever in advertising, where if you have a person that like what's the word I'm looking for? An aspirational figure that looks the way you want to look and has the lifestyle that you want to have, or like whatever the case may be, it is very, very easy to attach a product to that person and then make that product more desirable because of the nature of the person it's attached to. Does that make sense? This is not new. I'm trying to tell you. In 2014, if you remember, there was a huge like, did she or didn't she about Kylie Jenner's lip filler? And like now, 5 years later, that is hilarious to think about the fact that it was like a scandal. In the interest of full disclosure, I've had lip filler for over 2 years. I love my lips and I'm never gonna stop having them because they make me happy. I just feel like I have to, put my dirty laundry out there as far as that's concerned if I'm gonna comment on other people's. And I also have Botox. And with that being said, like, I think you just need to keep it present in your mind as much as possible that a lot of the girls, men, whatever that you're seeing in the beauty community are having work done. They're having very expensive treatments done to their skin, and their skincare collection and repertoire of products they have at their disposal is massive and probably unattainable for almost everyone that watches them. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you don't keep this in mind, you might find yourself in a situation where you feel compelled to buy a product because you think it's going to get you closer to looking like them. I mean, it's why supermodels walk runways. It's why gorgeous women with flawless skin are, the ones that you see in magazines advertising anti-aging cream. It's to sell you the possibility of you having that. And it matters not that some really, flawless, naturally gifted 20-year-old already had that thing going on, or maybe it was bought in a doctor's office, or that it was achieved through filtering and lighting and really dope photography skills. You will come to associate the thing with the person selling it. It's how it's done. At the end of the day, marketing and branding and things like that are all designed to make you feel anxious. And if you're stalking that Sephora cart regularly and low-key or high-key, doing it to achieve the look that your favorite YouTube beauty guru has, always keep in mind that what you are seeing is not necessarily because of a concealer. Number 4 reason that I have is you're buying everything influencers are talking about. I'm gonna quickly refer back to one of the points that I just made and kind of quickly expand on it. The whole thing about marketing, they don't try to sell you things being like, hey girl, you're fine just the way you are. But maybe if you're feeling squirrely, pick this up anyway. It doesn't work like that. It's supposed to make you feel as if once you own that thing, a sense of relief will overcome you. That relief would be coming from some sort of perceived value. In the case of beauty gurus, their value comes from their mouth and the words that they are saying. They are trying and therefore talking about an ungodly amount of makeup. When I was purging my makeup stash earlier this year, which resulted in 3 very large boxes full of makeup, I was shocked by how much makeup I had that I had only tried a handful of times, used a tiny amount, or never even touched at all. Don't even get me started on how much of it had expired. I say all this to just really drive home the point that it is unrealistic and unnecessary to buy everything everyone talks about. I will go so far as to say you don't even need to buy a portion of what you are seeing talked about. I've been in the makeup industry in some capacity, one way or the other, for about 8 years now. Good God. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, you'll have to just trust me that 80% of what you see is exactly the same, with some but few exceptions. In my opinion, it's just getting worse and worse because companies are cashing in on this, and as long as it's being paid for, as long as people are buying it, as long as people are posting about it, they're gonna keep doing it. Your favorite gurus doing unboxing videos, haul videos. I don't feel like people do hauls anymore now that I think about it, because everybody just be getting everything for free. But reveal videos and review videos. You just need to keep this all in mind the next time they're all like, OMG, this is life, goals AF, and then you never see it again. Just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to dog people. I'll say it once. I probably should say it every 20 minutes just so there's no confusion. Like I said, they can do whatever they want. They have the right to do that. I'm not trying to get in the way of them making money, but we have to take some responsibility and pay attention to what we do with our money in all of this. At the end of the day, it's not their job, it's ours. So the last thing that I think is making the beauty community no fun, or maybe why you're bored with it, I don't even know what I'm calling this video, so I keep giving all these reasons for these points I'm trying to make. Bear with me. This next thing I believe plays a bigger role in why the beauty community can feel very draining and very toxic, and that is that people who watch these influencers genuinely feel like they know these people. And let me tell you why that becomes a problem. This is unique to YouTubers, and it has to be, because that's how they develop a following, and that's how they grow their engagement, and that's how they're able to sell to you, and that's why brands are paying them. You have to understand that's what they're supposed to do. I have that feeling with certain content creators. They're not beauty gurus, but there are content creators that I watch, and then I'm just like, girl, in my mind, we are best friends. You know what I'm saying? Put out interesting and cool stuff. They get me through hard times. They make me laugh. I understand at the end of the day that this relationship exists, and why it exists, because I feel the same way about people that I watch too. So I'm not trying to look down on anyone and be like, oh, peons. I don't feel that way. You can't undervalue the connection that YouTubers and their followers have with each other. It's massive. You do not know them, and this would be so useful to remember for a few reasons. Number one being that keeping that in mind will probably help you stay aware of the fact that a lot of what they talk about and do is for personal gain. I'm not knocking them at all. They have to do this. Is what they do. But once again, it's our responsibility to keep certain things in mind when we're consuming this content. I really do not mean to paint them as soulless, product-shilling Johnny-come-latelys. That's not my point. It is a business at the end of the day. You don't know these people. I say this because then I'm going to use Dramageddon as an example because it's the best one I can think of. But anyway, with Dramageddon, lines were drawn, sides were chosen. Twitter and YouTube comments were pulsating with just negative, hurtful, hateful energy. They're in the interest of destroying someone or defending them. And I just like flat out don't get it. Maybe beauty gurus are like our versions of sports teams. I've seen grown men almost throw hands over the fact that one person didn't support the team but the other did. I guess in some ways it is completely justifiable to wish death on or expose total strangers because someone didn't like the eyeshadow palette that your favorite YouTuber put out. I feel like what keeps happening is this. YouTuber creates following. Some people blindly follow, but depending on the nature of the influencer, some people can be in the tens of thousands. YouTuber makes completely understandable human error, as we have all done and will continue to do for as long as there's breath in our body and blood in our veins. Like, it's just what happened. The error could be an inappropriate post or a shady product launch. Maybe something from their past comes up. But either way, you will have people who feel completely let down and or taken advantage of by the YouTuber. If they aren't of the camp of those who feel personally victimized by Regina George, then they'll be the ones coming out balls deep, guns blazing, in defense of that YouTuber to anyone who dare speak about the YouTuber in a way that they deem inappropriate. All of this happens for people you don't know. In the end, it's all for nothing because mostly what seems to be happening now, it seems very calculated to me, is people want to be in this drama. I feel like the ones who are in the drama are the ones who are considered at the top of the game, and that's because they're keeping their names, their likenesses, all that stuff in your brain sauce, and there is something to be said for that old adage, there is no such thing as bad publicity. I feel like it's a cycle we have seen play itself out nonstop for the past couple of years. And I want off the bus, please. Obviously, you can glean a lot from the psychology of the type of person who are internet trolls, like in general, type people that wish death on folks over like lip gloss. And like, do this for me. Close your eyes and think of someone you know in your real life who does this type of thing. Someone who starts fights on the internet. Someone who like posts a lot of their like personal stuff on the internet for like attention. Those types of people. People who just really like to weaponize social media. Like, happy people don't act like that. If you have Facebook, you see people do this that you know. Would you ever waste your time engaging in a conversation with that person, let alone an emotionally charged conversation about lip gloss? I don't think so. I mean, the internet and social media are still babies. I just hope that in 10 years we can all look back on this and it just seemed like very taboo and like just not proper etiquette, kind of frowned upon behavior, because going to bat and going to war on Twitter over people you don't know is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I don't understand it. And it definitely makes the beauty community less fun as far as I'm concerned. The main message I'm trying to get across here is like, we can hate the beauty community all we want. We can say that it's not fun and we're not into it anymore and we don't enjoy it anymore. But it's really easy for us to point the finger at other people. Maybe it's the influencer or the haters online or whatever the case may be. But really all we can change is ourselves. And the only way I see things getting better is if the consumers of the content and of the products that the beauty industry is putting out really only start putting their money and their attention on things that are more in service of a positive, just kind of better environment. And I have a feeling, whether we like it or not, the tide will change, because that's just how things go. Nothing lasts forever. The way things are done will be the way that they were done for a long time, and then it will change. Hopefully it changes for the better, but only time will tell. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you subscribe if you are not, once again. And yeah, hope you're having a great day, and I will catch you in the next one.